Hey guys, welcome to another Theory of Computation tutorial. Today we'll solve another example of conversion from Mealy machine to Murray machine. So let's get started. Alright, so till now we have solved examples where we use transition diagrams, but today we'll be using just transition tables to convert from Mealy machine to its equivalent Murray machine. Alright, so we are given this Mealy machine and we have to convert it to its equivalent Murray machine. So how do we do that? First, let's just look at the states. Okay, so let me just choose a better color. Yeah, red. Okay, so let's say you are in state Q0. You get input 0, you go to state Q1 where the output is supposed to be 0. Now remember, in Mealy machine, the output is dependent on the input and the state, whereas in Murray machine, the output is connected with just the state. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just look at the states where we have got multiple different outputs. Like for example, if Q1 has input 0, it is going to give output 0 over here. And is there any other place where the Q1 is giving any other input? Output? Yes, over here. As you can see, if you are getting input 0 over here, you are going to get the output as 1 over here. Okay, in state Q1. So there are multiple outputs over here. So what we can do is we can convert this Q1 into a state where there are different outputs. Okay, but for first we'll look at just Q0. Okay, we'll start with Q0. Now for Q0, are there different outputs? No, not over here. There is nothing over here. Okay, now in Q1, as we have seen, there are different outputs, that is output 0 and output 1. Okay, so what we do is we will create two different states of Q1. Okay, so Q1, we had 1 over here. We'll just divide it into two different states. First one we'll call Q1 0 and second one we'll call Q1 1. Okay, and in Q1 0, when we get the output as 0, and Q1 1, the output is supposed to be 1. Okay, now similarly we'll check for Q2. Now over here in this column there is no Q2, but over here we have got Q2 and the output is 0. Over here the Q2 and output is 1. So again we have to create two different versions of Q2. So let's write that down. Q2, we have to create two different versions. Okay, so first one we'll call Q2 0 and second one we'll call Q2 1. Okay, for different outputs. Now similarly for, alright, so we are done with Q0, Q1 and Q2. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll start with Q0 over here. Q0. Okay, now in Q0, if you get input 0, you are going to go to a Q1 where the output is supposed to be output is supposed to be 0. So which is the Q1 with output 0? Q1 0. Okay, so we'll write the output as Q1 0, the output state as Q1 0. Okay, and next is if you get input 1 in Q0, where do you go? You go to Q2 where the output is supposed to be 0. So Q2 with output 0 is Q2 0. So let's write that down, Q2 0. Okay, now with once we are done with Q1 0, Q2 0 over here, we have to now go for Q1 state, but there are two Q1s, Q1 0 and Q1 1. So let's start with Q1 0. Q1 0. In Q1 0, what happens? If you get input 0, you go to Q1 itself where the output is 0. So output 0, Q1 0 is Q1 0 over here. Yeah. So let's write Q1 0. Okay. And if you get input 1, you go to Q2 with output 1. So which is the Q2 with output 1? It is Q2 1. So let's write Q2 1 over here. Q2 1. Alright. Now once we are done with Q1 0, we have to check for Q1 1. Okay. So let's write Q1 1. Q1 1. Okay. So what happens in Q1 1? If you get input 0, you go to Q1 with 0. So which is Q1 0. Q1 0. And if you get input 1, you go to Q2 1. So it is same. Q2 1. Okay. Now the only difference over here in Q1 0 and Q1 1 is their outputs. So over here Q1 0, the output is supposed to be 0. Q1 1, the output is supposed to be 1. And in Q0, the output is supposed to be only 0. As we have seen, there is no other output. So Q1 0, the output is 0. Q0, there is no output associated with it. So we'll just write it as 0. Okay. Now, after that, we have got Q2, but there are two Q2s over here, Q2 0 and Q2 1. So we'll start with Q2 0. Q2 0. So what happens in Q2 0? So if you get input 0, you go to Q1 where the output is 1. So Q1 with output 1 is Q1 1. So we'll write it as Q1 1. Okay. And what about input 1? So if you get input 1 in Q2, you go to Q2 with output 0. So Q2 with output 0 is called Q2 0. Q2 0. Now in Q2 0, as we have seen already, that the output is supposed to be over here 0 and over here output 1. Similarly over here 0 and 1. Okay. So the output associated with Q2 0 is 0. Let's write that down. Okay. Now last one is Q2 1. That is second variation of Q2. Q2 1. So what happens over here? If you get input 0, you are going to Q1 where the output is 1. So again it is Q11. Q11. And if you get input 1, you go to Q2 with output 0. So Q2 0. But Q2 1, the output associated is 1. So this is how we convert a Mealy machine to its equivalent Moore machine. Very simple, very easy. No need to draw the transition diagram at all. We can just convert directly from here to here by just checking for the states that have different outputs. Okay. So for example, over here, in this example, we have Q1 with output 0 and Q1 with output 1 over here. Okay. Similarly, Q2 with output 0 we have and Q2 with output 1 also we have. So we have created these extra states, that is Q1 0, Q1 1, Q2 0, Q2 1. So I hope you got this example. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. Thank you very much.